Rise of Industry tips. These are some tips that I wrote. It's primarily going to be about warehouses, and it's going to be a little bit more advanced for an advanced player. These were things that I discovered while playing recently. Some buildings waste space, such as mines and rails. So, for example, if you build mines, the mining materials might be scattered, and they have something called a gatherer, and you can't build other buildings within the mines. Same thing with rails. Because of the way you design your rail system, it might waste a lot of space. You might do what's called a butterfly junction. So you're going to have a lot of space where you can't build, and that's where you can build a lumber mill within those spaces to take advantage of the unused land. And I know you're going to say, well, what if there's no trees there? There's an option in the sandbox mode, I don't know if it's in the regular mode, where you can put down a tree sapling and you can plant all the tree saplings, and then after a short amount of time, it doesn't take that long on the regular game speed, it takes about a half an hour, you'll be able to go and build lumber mills in that unused space. Build factories in the circular range of a warehouse. So if you have a warehouse, it has a range maximum of 40 tiles, and it's in a circle. Build your warehouse and build good roads around it using the one-way roads, and then build the Zeppelin, rail, etc. And then build all your factories in a circle going around the warehouse. And the reason why is because they're guaranteed to use that warehouse, number one. Number two, it is possible you can build a factory that's outside of the range of the warehouse, and then you have no choice but to build another warehouse or do a manual route for the factory or something like that. So my suggestion is you build the factories in the circular range of the warehouse. Keep in mind that that warehouse might get so much traffic that it's going to be slammed by trucks trying to get in or get out of the warehouse, and it might slow everything down. If a warehouse has too many trucks, try using rail, boat, or air to move goods to a neighboring warehouse. So you might have so many trucks in the warehouse that it slows everything down and they can't leave. So what I do is I use the Zeppelin, which is an airship, and I build another warehouse nearby, and I use the Zeppelin to move all the finished goods to the other warehouse so they don't have to leave by truck. You want to minimize the amount of trucks going into a busy warehouse. And it does alleviate some of the traffic at a warehouse. Try to have trucks exit the warehouse using 3 routes. So when you have the building and it has the exit, you can either go to the left or to the right or go forward. And the more exit routes that you have for a warehouse, the faster that trucks are able to leave. There'll be less traffic jams. So if you've got a busy warehouse, you're going to want to have 3 ways to get out. Rename your warehouse for the type of goods produced there. So if I have farmland, I call it farmland. If I have factories that are producing drinks, I call it drinks. If it's producing steel, I call the warehouse steel. And what that means is that, let's say steel needs iron. When you produce iron, you send it to the steel warehouse. So you have iron, and then you send it to a warehouse, and you go through the list of warehouses, and you look for the one that says steel, and that's the one to go to. I'd love to demonstrate this all, but my computer's a little slow, and the game is running too slow. So it's better if I just read everything. Also, this information is in my forum under the Transportation Management Games, under Rise of Industry. I wrote all the tips, so you know that they're going to be really good. Fish are hard to find. I played oh, I don't know how many weeks or months, never knew how to find the fish. And I happened to find them in the dark blue water. And once I found them, I knew what they looked like. And then I was able to find the fish at other places on the map. So one thing you're going to notice about fish, they are the same color as the light blue water, so they're hard to see. But number two, if you try to terraform the land, it won't let you. So if you go into a river and you try to put land over the river and it doesn't let you, you know that there's probably fish there. So you know that there is an offshore oil rig. Just as an example, I still have not found any oil on my map, and I don't know what it looks like. Press the E key to rotate the map. I know that you're probably wondering, how do you rotate the map? It is the E and the Q. You press the ASDW, like the cursor keys, to move around, and the Q and the E will rotate the map. Obviously, you only need one key. You're probably going to remember the E key, which is next to R, and it's very helpful. So now that I know where it is, I use the map rotation often. You can block deliveries to a warehouse by using the incoming products panel on the warehouse menu. So when you open up the warehouse, there's like 5 icons across the top. The first one on the left says incoming products, and then you see all the products going into that warehouse, and there's a little switch you can click on to disable those products. If you have a busy warehouse, you might have to do that in order to get them to balance and use some of the other warehouses. For some reason, they seem to dominate. That's not the right word. They seem to give preference to one warehouse. So if you build a secondary warehouse, even if it's more convenient, they might not use it. And it might be the warehouse that was created first might get the preferred deliveries. As an example, I built a warehouse. I built all the factories around it. There were paper mills, and I built 3 or 4 supporting warehouses. They still sent everybody to one warehouse, which wasn't even the most convenient one. Okay, so I have another tips video for Rise of Industry, and it's 45 minutes long. You'll find it on my YouTube account, and it includes all of the other tips that are in the forum here, which is at cheapbooks.cc. And you can see that there's quite a lot of tips. This is what you're going to see in that other video. And it continues. This has only been like half. So there's a lot of tips in the other video. This is just an addendum. And if you have any questions, you can post below, and I read all of your comments and I will answer everything. But you can go to cheapbooks.cc, go to the video game section, transportation management games. It's under trucks because essentially it is intended for trucks. And then go for Rise of Industry. You're going to see some of the other truck games over here. Transroad USA is one of them. And then there's another one called Truck Manager. I do own Transroad USA. I don't recommend it. So that's Rise of Industry. If you have any questions or comments, please post below. And don't forget to go to cheapbooks.com, which is a website for searching for books and textbooks. If you have any questions or comments, please post below.